welcome to The Guitar Effect. My name is Rob. In this video we're going to be talking about two pedals from Sonicake, the Levitate and the Warp Dimension. But before we do, I'd ask you to please like and subscribe and hit the notifications bell so you be kept up to date every time I post a new video. So the first thing we should do is have a listen to these two bad boys in a track, so here you go. So there you go. The Warp Dimension is a modulation pedal, a multi-modulation pedal, and the Levitate is a delay and reverb. This is the second group of products I've had delivered from Sonicake. I should say this video isn't, I think technically this video is sponsored because they gave me the gear for free, but I'm not being paid, so I can say whatever I want about the pedals, there's no problem there. So they sent me the Levitate, which is a delay and reverb. This side is the delay and this side is a reverb, and both of these switches have dual functions. The on-off for the delay can be a tap tempo, and the reverb has a hold function where you can hold the trail forever of the note that you select. It's pretty simple really. One of the things interesting, it has a dry level, so you can not only mix the amount of delay, but you can actually say how much dry signal is getting through, which means if you want to, you can have 100% wet and only hear the repeats, which is useful in a parallel effects loop and an amplifier, but it's not something I would ever have use for. So as well as a wet control, which is how much delay mix there is, there's a feedback and a time, and then you set the delay length with the time knob, and you set the amount of repeats with the feedback knob. And then you can also set the time via the tap tempo switch, which you switch on, switch off to switch on the pedal, and then you hold in and it changes into a tap tempo, and then hold it in again and it changes back to an on-off switch. The delay has a sort of faux tape-ish kind of feel to it. And then the reverb kind of has a bright hall sort of feel to it, and it's a really nice reverb. So that's the Levitate. And then the Warp Dimension, this one is a multi-modulation pedal, right? So, and the way these two pedals work together is why I'm demoing the two of them in the one demo. Normally that's something I would ever do. I would only ever do one pedal per demo. But these two combine in really interesting ways, which I'll get to in a minute, right? So the Warp Dimension has chorus, flanger, phaser, and tremolo. And then the two functions are, you have an on-off switch and then you have a tap tempo, which you can do for any of those effects. There's level, depth, rate, and then there's a tone knob. So the level knob dictates how much of the effect is in the signal. The tone knob, which is really interesting, detects how or sets how bright or dull that effect is, which on a modulation pedal is actually really, really useful. Don't drop it. Then the depth knob is how intense the effect is, and the rate knob is how fast or slow it is. So I'll just show them to you on camera there so you can see. So also, both of these pedals I really like the enclosure. So they've got really nice artwork. I really like the big knob combined with the real small four knobs. It's a bent sort of aluminium chassis with a plastic kind of underneath part to it. I think these are about €50 each. And they both take 9 volts in the centre at the back there. I don't know what the milliampage is. Maybe it says on the back of it. No, it just says 9 volt. Yeah, so I'll just hold the two of them up close to the camera so you can have a good look at them. Hopefully it'll get in focus. I think that's in focus now. So yeah, similar size, well, exactly the same size, same enclosure. So the reason I'm doing both of these in one demo is most of the time when people, particularly the Chinese brands, bring out new pedals, they tend to be clones of something that already exists. So, you know, with this you would expect it to be a digital delay or an analog delay with a hall reverb. This, both the reverb and the delay are kind of different than the typical voicings you would expect to get on a budget pedal, and they're really cool. They're really like lo-fi and have loads of character. Same applies here. All of the modulation effects on this sound really good, but in an unconventional kind of way. And I think you put these two together on like an alternative or indie board. And I say that because I don't think John Mayer players or Eric Clapton players and stuff are going to like these pedals, but I think indie alternative musicians are really going to like these pedals, and they're super affordable. So what I think is really cool about them is how distinctive they are and how individual sounding they are. So with that in mind, the Levitate and the Warp Dimension, let's have a listen to them now. Okay, so the demo, the Warp Dimension and the Levitate, what I'm doing is I'm playing this Gretsch Jet. It's an Electromatic made in China Jet from Gretsch. It's a great guitar. It's a semi-hollow body construction, even though there's no F-holes. There's 2 Filtertron style humbucker pickups, and it's like a Les Paul shape, and it's got a Bigsby. Okay, I'm playing it into the Warp Dimension, into the Levitate, and then out of the Levitate into the clean channel of my Koch Studio Tone 20 amp. It's clean. I was going to add a little bit more bass actually. And it has the bright switch on, and it sounds like this. A little bit of reverb coming from the amp there, as you can hear, and that's because while there is reverb on the Levitate, as I mentioned before, it would be an effect for me. It wouldn't be like my always on reverb, because it's quite a particular sounding reverb. So, as I mentioned in the intro part of the video, these 2 pedals do their own thing, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through both of them individually and then combine them to show you how the 2 of them sound together, mostly individually, because I think the permutations of adding them together are pretty much endless, but there's 2 or 3 really cool sounds that I like about the way you use them together, right? So starting with the chorus on the Warp Dimension. So it's just a really nice, warm, like 70s kind of chord. So it's got like a really nice kind of almost, you know, Boss CE1 kind of feel. And then the level is how much chorus there is in the signal. There's more chorusy there. Makes the sound of the chorus brighter. Sounds really usable for me, and then with the chorus back, with the tone backed off, it sort of gets more subtle. almost kind of comes in after you hit the note, only when it's sustaining. So really. And then if I back the level off, back the rate up, and the tone back into the center, and the depth, I can make it more pronounced. Gets into a weird sort of most chorus pedals that I would use, when you put them fast, you get a sort of faux rotary sound. This does a different thing. It's kind of rig modulated. You kind of hear the vibrato really move. So I wouldn't use it at fast settings. I'm not into it at fast settings, but at slow settings with the depth back, the tone back, and the level up, it's really cool. So that's the chorus. Moving on to the flanger. Disclaimer, I am not a flanger fan. So the first thing is, to me, the sound seems to get quieter. Wrong. So again, with the controls, a faster rate just gets into silly territory. Kind of bubbly. Kind of silly, really. But again, if you wanted something silly, it's there. And to get a faux rotary kind of sound. Kind of interesting. Tone on the phaser. Kind of interesting, yeah. Okay. So after that then we have the phaser. I like a really slow phaser with quite a bit of depth and maybe the tone back. Even slower again. Yeah. It's got a tune, give me one sec. So yeah, phaser. Lovely phaser. I can back the depth off and make it more subtle. Really nice. And then if I put the tone up high, it gets quite this high fidelity kind of thing going on, the neck pickup. Bit more depth. Really lovely phaser. So then on to the tremolo. Bit more depth, more level, keep the tone up, bring the rate in. as fast or slow as you want. And I can tap that in with a tap switch. So all in all, the Warp Dimension is a really, really useful, individualistic, I think, sounding modulation pedal. Okay, it has 4 different sounds, but there's no way to foot switch between those 4 different sounds. So for me, I'd only be able to use really one of them, maybe 2 of them at a gig. And they would have to work in the context of me going on one and then switching it around to phaser, which I would never want my phaser that fast, which means I'm getting into twirling knobs between different sounds, which I'm never going to do at a live gig. But in a studio setting, now I could just go and use the tap tempo. Actually, that's pretty good. But I still have to bend down and change the sound of the selected different modulation. But I think as modulation pedals go, like, believe it or not, I would have this over the Boss MD 200, which I demoed recently, and the reason for that is it has more inspirational sounds to me, and it's easier to use, and it's super cheap, affordable. I shouldn't say cheap. So I think Sonicake have done a really, really good job here of making a almost lo-fi indie purpose-built, which is kind of music I would, alternative indie lo-fi modulation sounds would be what I'd be looking for, as opposed to super hi-fi ones. Yet it can do that hi-fi phaser thing that I was talking about, that beautiful phaser sound. Okay, so that's the Warp Dimension. Onto the Levitate. Starting off with the delay, you have a wet level. Sorry, you have a dry level and a wet level. So this is the level of delay, and this is the delay of the clean signal. So if I go, they're kind of even, but if I drop that off completely, I only have my delay signal. And if I turn this up full and turn this off, I only have my dry signal. So now I can blend in the wet signal as I want. So when you put this with a low mix level, you get a beautiful background ambient sound for kind of picking stuff, clean picking stuff. That's what it's actually doing. Really gorgeous. Which with a bit of whammy bar adds a little bit of modulation to it. I think something that's already slightly modulated. Very slightly modulated. There's a kind of tape echoey kind of thing going on. Yeah. Really gorgeous. So then the other thing I can do is put the mix up high, keep the delay time a bit faster. Bit faster again. gorgeous delay that sounds good at high volumes for like rhythmic stuff, but also sounds really nice blended back as a kind of atmospheric thing. So that's the delay. Then onto the reverb. So as I mentioned before, I have a spring reverb on my amplifier. This I would use for a more pronounced reverb sound. So it has a very bright character to it, but it doesn't, which would, for me, always reminds me of spring reverb, but it doesn't have the kind of drippy, weird, bouncy thing that spring reverbs actually have designed into them. So it has it's almost to me like a very bright hall reverb. It's very nice for stabs. With the delay. The Levitate is a really, really great, again, very vibey, specific sound, lo-fi, very character-filled delay and reverb pedal. Again, I'm really, really enjoying these two pedals. They're great. So that's the reverb and delay. What I'm going to do now is show you some cool combinations. So I bring this back to a slap here. Right, and then bring the tremolo in. Yeah, this kind of cool, like Tarantino-ish Western thing. Really cool. Then I can bring it around to say the flanger, take the delay off completely, and I get that cool 80s thing that we had going on, but it's way too fast. You get a really nice, like almost alternative 80s kind of thing going on there. And if I put that to the chorus, turn off the reverb and turn on the delay, and make the speed go up a little bit, you get a cool. Chewy thing. A bit faster with the delay, maybe. almost like indie 80s kind of feeling thing. Really great, and when there's just so many options available, and that's without doing any sort of distortion sounds at all with these two pedals. Really impressed Sonicake, amazing stuff. So there you go, the Levitate and the Warp Dimension, delay and reverb, and then a choice of either chorus, flanger, phaser, or tremolo. Really, really, really cool. Sort of character-filled pedals. I'm really impressed with these. Really, really like them. Really like what Sonicake are doing with these, and like, thanks very much to Sonicake again for sending them out. I've really enjoyed them. They've also sent me the A Station, I think it's called, which is an acoustic preamp, and they've sent me the EQ pedal. And funnily enough, I'm in a new acoustic band, so I'm going to use both of those for that acoustic band, and I'm going to demo the two of them with an acoustic guitar next week. So there you go. That's the Levitate and the Warp Dimension. Thanks again to Sonicake for sending them out. I really like them. I really like what Sonicake are doing. They've got their own thing going on. Oh, and also you'll notice I have a new Levitate or whatever it's called, wireless microphone. They sent me this too, which is great because it means I don't have to pull microphones around the place and move them around the place. I can just have this on my t-shirt every time now, which is making my life a whole lot easier. So thank you for that, Sonicake. I'll make a video about this as well. So there you go. If you're looking for the second half of your pedalboard, right, so modulation, delay and reverb, and you don't need to have switchable presets, these are a really, really good option, especially, like I said, if you want to play some sort of unusual sounding sounds, not the really completely standard fare stuff, especially not in this kind of price range. I think what Sonicake are doing are really, really cool. The foot switches all feel great, the knobs feel fine, the enclosures are metal on the outside and plastic underneath. They should do fine. And I think for whatever they are, 50 something euro each, something like that. I'll stick the price in the description below. I think they're really impressive. So well done, Sonicake. So thanks very much for watching. If you have enjoyed the video up to this point, I'll ask you to please like and subscribe. I don't make any other money from YouTube other than ad revenue. So liking and subscribing helps that a lot. It gets me up in the algorithm and gets my videos served up more, which pays me more money. Allows me to buy more effects pedals and stuff. So if you have what watch this for, I'll ask you please like and subscribe. Yeah, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video again soon. Take it easy. Bye bye.